Tonight, helping businesses fight back.
We've had 3 break-ins in our stores here with quite a bit of a loss.
Brantford looks to counter a wave of crime.
I'm hearing so often from business owners that are really facing hard times with different vandalism and damage and disruption.
That's hit the retail community. Back to a buyer's market.
It has everything to do with just the economic uncertainty.
A reality check on real estate.
I think it's a great opportunity for people to get into the market.
And the shift this summer in Waterloo Region. A tall order in Cambridge.
We don't have the infrastructure for that much more traffic. They're going to ruin our downtown.
The pushback over a plan to take the city's skyline.
We do have to be open to change.
To new heights.
Good evening. It's good to have you with us again tonight. A wave of crimes that have hit businesses in Brantford have a city councillor urging her colleagues to step in and help. She's hoping some of the city's surplus can be made available for a pilot grant program to help those who've been hit recover or even beef up their security measures. CTV's Colton Weens was in Brantford today and joins us now live with more. Colton, what is the idea?
Well, Tony, Councillor Mandy Samwell says she hears from business owners across the city who've been victims of theft and vandalism, so she's urging council to consider a vandalism prevention and restoration program as a pilot project to try to turn things around.
Look at the considerations of how we could bring this kind of a program to the city of Brantford to really help out these business owners that are really facing some difficult times.
Councillor Mandy Samwell says she's heard from too many business owners who've been victims of crime.
So I wanted to see if we could just come up with a solution that we could support the businesses, make sure that they know that we want to help, and find a way to kind of maybe look at a granting program that are already happening in other municipalities, but find out a solution that would work here for Brantford.
At a meeting to discuss the city's nearly $9 million surplus from last year, Samwell suggested the city explore creating a 1-year pilot program to help.
It's not only giving them a grant to restore what's happened, but we also want them to be able to enhance their locations so that these types of things are less likely to happen again. So it's also with the intent to prevent as well.
If council approves it, $100,000 from the city's surplus will be made available.
So this specific program is actually intended to focus on all different types of vandalism and damage.
Businesses like the Old World Marketplace here in downtown say theft and vandalism have been getting worse over the years, and they're happy to see a program like this being explored.
It is so needed. I have to tell you, there's vandalism. We've had 3 break-ins in our stores here with quite a bit of a loss, $2,000 or $3,000 each time. Broken windows, broken doors.
Over the past 5 years, she says she's had to use her own income to make up losses from theft and vandalism.
So we've had to put more money into securing it so they can't. So we're now even thinking of out front having to put up a gate or something.
Coster says some customers are scared to come downtown and she would consider moving, but she owns the buildings and wants to keep them in the family.
I can't just easily move because we own it. If I was renting, I'd move in a minute.
Now, making a final decision on this pilot project will take time. City staff will come back to council with recommendations on how it could work by the end of this year. Tony.
Okay, CTV's Colton Weens with that report from Brantford. Colton, thank you. Police in Niagara region are searching for suspects tonight after rocks were thrown at moving vehicles on highways in the St. Catharines area. The OPP released these images of damaged vehicles that were hit by rocks thrown from overpasses on the QEW near Mountain Street, as well as Highway 58 near Pine Street and in several areas along the 406. Police haven't said when these incidents occurred or how many.
If you are the perpetrator involved in this, turn yourself in and contact a lawyer and report into the Niagara OPP detachment. But again, we're appealing for any witnesses or anyone with information that can assist us with this investigation. It is dangerous and it needs to stop.
This investigation comes after the OPP filed charges earlier this month against 2 teens in connection with similar rock throwing incidents that happened in Markham. Okay, time to head outside for a first check on the weather. Let's go out to our patio tonight outside CTV. Alex Pinto joining us live with all the details. Another classic midsummer day of heat, Alex.
Yes, it sure is, Tony. That heat and humidity still with us once again. The story of the week, since we have seen that heat warning go into place from last week. But I've got to say, I'm not hating this evening sun right now. We could see a little bit more of a breeze. That would be nice to see. But yes, so starting with that heat warning still with us this hour, expected to stick with us right through until Thursday night or so. Daytime highs 31 to 35, but with that humidex feeling more from 37 to 42. So quite warm, and when it comes to the overnight lows, we're not getting much relief from that heat yet. Mainly clear conditions over Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding areas when we look at our satellite and radar this evening. But yeah, it's still warm, hot, and humid. 30 degrees right now in Kitchener, Waterloo, just slightly cooler if you are by the water this hour. And with that humidex here in KW, it's feeling more like 36. In Toronto, feeling more like 37. So that heat and humidity is still with us. I'll let you know when we could finally see a break from that heat and when we could see a single digit when looking at our overnight low. Quite cool, something we haven't seen in a while. That's coming up a little bit later. Tony.
Single digit, oh my goodness. Okay, we'll have to wait for those details. Alex, thank you. We'll talk to you shortly. Today marks what would have been Tori Stafford's 25th birthday. She was the little girl from Woodstock who was abducted, raped, and killed back in 2009. Today, Tori's father is calling on the public to perform random acts of kindness to keep Tori's memory alive. CTV's Lauren Stallone reports.
Victoria Stafford was a larger-than-life, bubbly 8-year-old girl. Her father describes her as having a heart of gold.
Still hear nothing but positive thoughts from her friends and just how she used to be, and just overall was a great little friend.
Victoria was known as Tori to those who loved her most, and now to the world. Tori was abducted while walking home from school in Woodstock on April 8, 2009. Her body was found in a field 3 months later. Investigators determined she had been raped, tortured, and killed.
Her birth, just 25 years ago today, you know. Holding her in my hands, you know, and vowing to protect her forever. And, you know, kind of days like this, it makes it feel like I failed. But in a sense, you know, there was nothing we could do.
Now, to mark what would have been Tori's 25th birthday, her father, Rodney, is asking members of the public to perform random acts of kindness in memory of his daughter.
Whether it be the loss of a child or through the courts or whatever, we just continue to try to do what we can to be there for others and use Victoria's instance as an example as to why things have to change.
Rodney says he misses Tori every day, but knows a part of her will always be with him.
Sometimes it'll be something as small as a butterfly, a song, just even something somebody may say that would remind me of something Victoria would say, or just even just who she was.
Rodney says he is grateful for his community that have helped keep Tori's memory alive over the past 16 years and will continue to do so forever.
If you never met her, it's hard to explain, but at the same time, it's really not. She was a beautiful little girl, taken far too soon.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Police are sharing details of arrests in what they describe as a violent criminal network. More than a dozen suspects have been taken into custody, believed to be responsible for a series of terrifying incidents, including home invasions and vehicle thefts in Peel region. CTV's Sean Leathon with those details.
The early hours of September 10th, 2024, a shooting related to the attempted robbery of this Lamborghini. One person was seriously injured, and police launched Project Ghost. The result, Peel Police announced today.
A total of 13 people have been charged with a total of 197 violent criminal offenses.
23 of the charges are related to organized crime. According to Peel Police, Project Ghost was able to connect several home invasions and car thefts by a group of organized criminals who police say were willing to do the unthinkable in order to get what they want.
Imagine being asleep at your home at 3 o'clock in the morning with your family, your kids, when the door explodes open and masked, armed criminals break into your home and immediately begin to rob you and assault you.
The initial incident happening on August 1st, 2024, referring to a home invasion where victims were stabbed and criminals made off with a Mercedes-Benz. Peel police say the group is alleged to have committed 10 other home invasions and jewelry thefts.
Recruiting individuals to commit the robberies, providing direction on how to commit the robberies, and the selling of the stolen property after the robberies.
What's even more disturbing about this network is the exploitation of youth, recruiting minors to carry out dangerous crimes.
Peel police making most of the arrests on June 5th of this year. 7 people are from Mississauga, 3 from Brampton, and 3 from Toronto. Included in the arrests are 5 youths whose names cannot be released, some as young as 15.
These arrests and the 197 charges laid send a very clear message. If you bring violence to our neighborhoods, if you exploit youth, and if you think you can act with impunity, think again.
In total, $1.8 million in goods were stolen. According to police, 1/3 of that has been recovered.
That was Sean Leathong reporting. Well, the Humane Society is normally looking to find new homes for animals left behind. But in the town of Erin, the organization itself could soon be looking for a new home. The town has indicated it will not be renewing a lease with them in a few years' time. CTV's Jeff Pickle looking into this for us tonight. And Jeff, what seems to be the issue here?
Well, Tony, the Upper Credit Humane Society has been at its current location for 30 years, but it's municipal property, and now the municipality says the space could be better used to serve the public, while the Humane Society is hopeful the mayor and council will reconsider.
Sometimes we end up with lots of kittens in here. I think
it's cat season at the Upper Credit Humane Society, but they also have some dogs looking for a new home.
Some are strays, some are surrenders. For example, we have a few puppies in right now that were in accidental litter.
While they work to rehome these animals, they are also trying to keep a roof over their own head. The UCHS says after 3 decades at this location, they may be forced to move out.
And then they basically just came back and said, well, we're going to honor your lease until May 2028. And then we've been directed by council to maximize the value of the property for the taxpayers.
According to Town of Erin Mayor Michael Dane,
it's a good thing to have a humane society. It's just not necessarily the right location to have.
He says the area is zoned community space, which the Humane Society is not.
They actually do more work for other communities than they do for our own. We have a lot of volunteers who work there, but it's not a service that's really provided to our community.
The town says they will help the UCHS find a new location, but they don't have any municipal land to spare.
We're very limited. But what we can do is look at all the properties where there is proper zoning or where zoning can be changed.
The Humane Society says the central location outside the urban area is ideal.
We've never had any complaints for the 23 years that we've been at this location, so it's obviously working well as an animal shelter. And again, because of its central location, it's been great.
They say they have plans to transform the current location into a true community space.
The property would also include an off-leash dog park, some trails, picnic areas, and then another important aspect of it is that there would be a visitor information kiosk.
The mayor says that's a solution that's not ideal.
I mean, we've seen it. It's a beautiful plan. It's a bit of a dream, and, they don't own the land. So I'm not sure we want to have somebody redevelop something on a piece of town land.
Now, the Upper Credit Humane Society is hoping the town will hold a town hall to discuss the issue, but so far this has not been planned. Until then, they are looking for a new home and community support. Now, the mayor says currently there are no plans to redevelop the site, and it is now zoned as community space and not as residential or commercial space. Tony.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that story. Jeff Pickle, thank you very much. Appreciate that reporting. And sign up for the CTV Kitchener newsletter to stay in the know each and every morning. We've got a look at the day's top stories, the latest weather forecast, and some must-see videos right as well. It's all in the newsletter, delivered right into your inbox each and every morning. You can sign up now over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. The wild world of real estate appears to be moving back toward the buyer. Coming up, a look at the local landscape as we hear some new takes on a nationwide cool down.
I'm Heather Centerin. How tall is too tall in West Galt? A developer wants to build a mixed-use tower on Grand Avenue South that is more than 4 times what is currently allowed in Cambridge. But some residents say it isn't the right fit. That story is just ahead.
We are still feeling the heat. More on when we could see a bit of a relief and even some wet weather this week. That's coming up in your full forecast.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
In Cambridge, a plan to take the Galt skyline to new levels isn't sitting well with everyone. We're talking 28 stories. That is 4 times what's currently allowed in the area near the Grand River pedestrian bridge. CTV's Heather Centerin joins us now with more on this development plan. Heather, this proposal up for discussion at a public meeting that starts shortly.
At 6:30, Tony, and there are more than a handful of delegates lined up. Some will be flagging things like a lack of parking and worries about traffic congestion, saying that a building of this magnitude isn't the right fit for the area.
Patterson Planning Consultants wants to replace the 3 buildings at 32, 36, and 38 Grand Avenue South in Cambridge with one tall tower. At 28 stories, it's more than 4 times as tall than what's currently allowed.
Currently, what's permitted is approximately 6 stories.
Here are renderings of what it could look like. The developers say it would include 328 residential units, mostly bachelor units, as well as some commercial space. The ward councillor in that part of West Galt has concerns.
We need density. We need housing. We certainly do. Do we need hundreds of bachelor apartments? I don't think so.
Roberts says she's trying to keep an open mind ahead of a public meeting about the development, but she's worried it might not fit in with the look and feel of the area.
We do have to be open to change. We can't, stay in the same position we're in forever. But I think that to go from a 2-story building to 28 directly beside it is jarring.
The area is already busy as it is.
And folks are already having trouble finding parking. And so this proposal is coming with, less than a half a parking spot per unit, which I know is going to, potentially be problematic.
There are several businesses nearby, like Barnacle Bill's.
Not even 500 feet. 2 doors away. Kitty corner, and then they're taking out the next 3 properties. I don't know. I'm all for development, but there's too much too fast in our area.
The owner of the fish and chip shop says she wouldn't mind it in a different part of Cambridge.
Why do they have to cram it into our little street on the west side? Like there's Hespeler Road seems to be where they got the biggest buildings.
Traffic is one of her biggest worries.
We don't have the infrastructure for that much more traffic. They're going to ruin our downtown.
And she's left to worry about safety concerns.
My husband has congestive heart failure. How is an ambulance ever going to get through? Like, it's ridiculous. It's too busy down there.
It is still early in the process.
This is really just the first step. We need to hear from residents about what their concerns are so that staff can make a good recommendation coming back to us.
City councillors will not be voting tonight. Staff are expected to return with a recommendation, and then council will vote on that sometime in the fall.
We did reach out to the developer but didn't hear back. The developer is expected to present the proposal tonight at the meeting. In the agenda notes, Patterson Planning Consultants says the development is appropriate for the site and represents good land use planning. Tony.
Heather Centerin reporting live. Heather, thank you for that. If you are thinking about buying a home, some of the experts are saying that now is the time to do it. A new report from Royal LePage finds housing prices in Waterloo region have dropped year over year and are only expected to have a modest increase by the end of this year. CTV's Alexandra Hollick crunches the numbers.
The weather is heating up, but Waterloo region's housing market seems to be cooling down.
Spring came and it went, and it never really hit the heights in previous years. It really just the pricing remained fairly stable.
A new report from Royal LePage suggests home prices won't rise as much as expected this year, based on slow spring sales in several major markets. The report predicts a slower rise in the price of homes by the end of this year, increasing 3.5%, down from 5% in April.
It has everything to do with just the economic uncertainty with our our trade talks and tariff talks with the U.S. A lot of people are cautious about getting into the real estate market.
After a few years of highs and lows, real estate experts say the market is balancing out, but buyers have the upper hand.
It's a great opportunity for people to get into the market because they simply have choice right now, and not everything is going immediately.
On a local level, the aggregate price in Kitchener-Waterloo dropped 6% year over year to just under $720,000, while the median price of a detached home and a condo also fell by 4.3% and 7.4% respectively.
In our region specifically, the student population has dramatically changed. The international students that are just simply not here in the same numbers that they were before.
That's made for a rise in availability and reduced interest in renting.
There are just simply not as many people looking for places to rent right now.
As for the future forecast, experts say prices will likely stay where they are, so long as the trade war persists.
Then at that point, I do think that buyers are going to jump into the market with confidence, knowing that the economy has somewhat stabilized.
Alexandra Hullick, CTV News, Kitchener.
And let's take a live look outside now along the Grand River in Fergus. What a beautiful shot this is. Lots of blooms, lots of green, and some rushing water. And as Alex was mentioning a little bit earlier, some places, depending on where you are today, maybe in the shade, maybe near the water, pretty bearable. But we'll find out what the rest of the week looks like weather-wise in just a couple of minutes. And also coming up, the larger-than-life figure that's now the focus of a new exhibit in Elgin County. Have you heard about the fascination with Jumbo the elephant? Stay with us for that. Next, though, the Prime Minister raises doubts that Canada will escape U.S. tariffs. The latest on the ticking clock in the trade war coming up. Welcome back. I was just telling Alex I've had a very active Tuesday. I walked to fitness class, then I walked through a couple of neighborhoods to a house where I'm doing some cat sitting, and then I walked home, and then I realized you shouldn't be doing this in this heat, but it was fairly shaded, the entire area that I was walking through in my neighborhood. So to your point earlier, like it's been kind of bearable if you're not going too hard out there.
Yeah, and kind of, timing it out earlier in the day, later in the evening makes it feel a little bit better. But even standing outside on the patio, I'm not going to lie, I didn't mind it. And I liked it.
And I did chug about a gallon of water over that whole walk. So
you're good, you're hydrated.
Finding ways to deal with the heat and make the most of summer.
Yeah, and a couple more days to go until that heat warning is officially lifted. But overall, pretty beautiful condition. Live look from Fergus tonight along the Grand River. Beautiful, beautiful shot. That's a place you want to be, by the water, when we are seeing this heat and humidity. Still with us earlier during the 5 o'clock. I know our cameraman Dave was in Laura getting a couple shots of people getting their kayaks in the water. So that's a pretty nice activity to enjoy on a night like this. It would be nice if we had maybe a little bit more wind to just cool us off a bit more, but I have to say it does feel a little bit more bearable compared to some of the other days that we have seen. But yes, that heat warning is still in place, so all that through the pink. Yeah, we're not going to get a break until about Thursday night or so. So that extreme heat, extreme humidity still with us. So we're still seeing daytime highs 31 to 35, but feeling more like 37 to 42 some days. And when it comes to overnight conditions, we're still not getting much of a relief from that heat. But as we look at our futurecast, mainly sunny conditions, pretty clear skies, not too much to see. North of Mount Forest, though, you could potentially, as we get into your Tuesday night, see a little bit of active weather there. So if you do have any outdoor plans, you may want to time that. A little bit of cloud cover starting to make its way into Wednesday. Then that's when we could start to see a little bit more activity for your Wednesday. Chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm also sticking with us here in Waterloo region and for surrounding areas as well. So 30 degrees right now, Kitchener-Waterloo. We have not hit our expected high of 31 yet. we're going to see how it is the next hour or so, but we might not actually hit it today. If you are by the water, though, a little bit cooler, just slightly. 32 in Toronto and 31 in the city of Hamilton. But with that humidex, it is feeling more like 35 here in KW. About 10 minutes or so, it's feeling more like 36. So slightly, I don't want to say cooler, but we're noticing a little difference there. Normal for this time is 26, so we are above normal for this time of year. Record high, 33.4. That was in 1983, and then 4.4 was our record low recorded in 1930. And if you are an early riser, and when we do see extreme heat like this, and we want to see activities, maybe going for a run, walking the dog a little bit earlier or later in the evening, of course, is much better. But that sun isn't rising until 5:55 in the morning now. So just 5 minutes to 6, we are starting to notice that sun a little bit later each and every day. So overnight, mainly clear conditions. We could still see a little bit of that haze, of course, from the wildfire activity we are seeing come from Western Canada. A bit more manageable today compared to what we saw yesterday too, especially for some areas when we did see that special air quality statement in place. So tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm. It could feel closer to 39 with that humidex, so still a pretty hot day out there. Then a chance of showers sticking with us for your Thursday, but take a look at Friday. Nice sunny conditions, expected high of 24. And just to backtrack actually for your Thursday, I had to look at this a couple of times. Yeah. 9 degrees is what it's going to get to overnight, so much cooler than what we're seeing from the last few days, so it'll be a nice little break. Lambton, Kenton, Essex, similar conditions when it comes to your active weather. Chance of showers sticking with you right through until about Friday or so, and then southern Georgian Bay, looks like you've got some sunshine to look forward to for your Friday. Here is today's Weather Watcher picture. Judy Brown sending us this shot from New Hamburg, saying it is daylily season. Beautiful colors on this flower as well. Thank you so much, Judy. You are tonight's Weather Watcher picture. I know you noted during the One Live shot we are seeing some beautiful blooms, especially with all that greenery. That just screams summer, and then being by the water, it's just so lush, and I love it.
And a nice fresh Friday coming up to kind of have a break from the humidity too. That's kind of nice, even if it's short-lived. We'll take it.
And still get to enjoy at least a bit of that sunshine. So still feeling like summer as we are, I guess, almost in the middle.
Oh, don't remind us. Don't remind us.
Won't say that out loud yet.
We're in the first half still. Thanks, Alex. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Well, some modified messaging today from Prime Minister Carney on his way into an emergency cabinet meeting to discuss U.S. President Trump's 35% tariff threat. He put Canadians on notice and said that a U.S. free trade deal without tariffs may not be possible. With more, here's CTV's Rachel Aiello.
Expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month.
Staring down an August 1st deadline, today the Prime Minister convened a rare summer cabinet meeting to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's latest 35% tariff threat. With the goalpost moved again, Carney lowered expectations that Canada can get a deal that would result in Trump dropping all tariffs, noting that so far no country has managed to secure a tariff-free trade agreement with the U.S.
It certainly comes off as a bit of a wake-up call.
It's an admission this lawyer, who used to litigate for Canada against the United States, says sends a clear signal to businesses.
If a baseline tariff does look like it's going to stick, then all of a sudden you can't operate in that environment forever, and you have to make real lasting decisions with respect to your customers and your suppliers.
Trump today sounded more optimistic about how talks are going.
We're negotiating with Canada right now, and we'll see how that all works out. I think it's going to work out very well.
This comes as data suggests Canadians are split on their confidence in Carney delivering a deal. New polling shows 63% of Canadians surveyed said they want the Prime Minister to push back and take a harder line in negotiations, while 37% prefer a softer approach.
Domestic confidence is going to be important. Carney needs to feel like he has a mandate from the people of Canada.
Carney campaigned on a promise to take on Trump with his elbows up. But since winning the election, even as the president has ratcheted up the trade war, Canada has not levied any new retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A rising risk of more widespread power outages. Coming up, some sobering predictions about the impact that wild weather swings could soon have on our electricity grid. cost of Donald Trump's tariffs is beginning to show up in the price of goods Americans buy as inflation shot up in the U.S. last month to 2.7%. Canada also recorded an inflation increase to 1.9%, not as high as the U.S., but enough to make it uncomfortable for Canadians. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Bought it late and the price was very high.
The cost of living is definitely not equivalent to what like an entry-level job or even like a decent paying job.
Overall, new numbers from Statistics Canada show the consumer price index rose 1.9% year over year in June, and that's up from 1.7% in May. But important to note, when you take energy out of the equation, the number is much higher, 2.7%, and that's in part because of the removal of the carbon tax. Gas prices continue to be lower, though June's decline was smaller than in May. And of course, many people are focused on the cost of food. The good news for your grocery bill is food prices are increasing at a slower pace, largely driven by a decline in vegetable prices, specifically helped by cheaper onions and cucumbers. And car prices are up 4.1%. Used cars jumped 1.7%, and that's the first year-over-year increase in 18 months. Statistics Canada doesn't have much to say about the impact of U.S. tariffs, with some economists believing it may be too early to feel the impact.
If anything, that should be depressing prices because it's restricting our exports, that's weakening our markets, but I don't think that's having a big impact. We didn't levy counter tariffs on many things, and we've already pulled back on a number of them.
These numbers are the last look the Bank of Canada has at price data before the next interest rate decision. That's coming July 30th. The key interest rate currently sits at 2.75%. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Time to check our top stories. Leanne Evans in studio with us, and Leanne, Brantford councillor, hoping for a move to help businesses who've been hit by vandalism.
Yeah, Tony, Councillor Mandy Samwell is urging council consider a vandalism prevention and restoration program. She's hoping the pilot project could turn things around for many businesses who have been victims of theft. If approved, $100,000 from the city surplus would be made available. Staff will make recommendations on how it could work by the end of this year. After decades of finding new homes for pets, the Upper Credit Humane Society and the town of Erin say they are now searching for a new home themselves. This comes after the municipality decided to not renew their lease past 2028. The town of Erin says the land is zoned as community space. The shelter has been at their current location for 30 years and are holding on to hope the mayor and council will reconsider.
And speaking of pets, online tonight, our digital team has a new story up. You got me with this one, didn't you? This was for me.
This one's for you.
This is a new report on cat-loving cities. Tell me all about this.
Cat-loving cities. And you know what? 2 local cities cracked the top 10 list. Both Kitchener and Cambridge. Cat-loving cities, Tony. PetSmart Canada is putting out this data ahead of National Adoption Week. The report said cat adoptions have actually outpaced dog adoptions in the past several years. You can see what other cities cracked the top 10 on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. But yeah, 2 local cities, both Kitchener and Cambridge, cat-loving cities. Tony, I know you like this story.
I'm just going to say Waterloo's a cat-loving city, too. Just going to say.
You'll have to go to the website to see if it made the list.
I'm going to take a look. I will. Thanks, Leanne.
No problem.
Well, from extreme heat in the summer to extreme cold in the winter, wild weather swings because of climate change are stressing the power grid. And there are warnings the next 5 to 10 years. Half of North America, that's around 300 million people, could be at risk of blackouts. With more on what's at stake, here is the recipient of the Sachedina CTV News Fellowship, Ruksar Ali.
Extreme weather events have left thousands of Canadians without power, sometimes for weeks. And climate change could make it worse.
The grid that we have today has not been designed for accommodating such extreme scenarios.
Between 2013 and 2023, Canada's 10 most significant weather events that impacted power grids caused about 20 million electricity interruptions to customers.
More shortfalls can occur during these extreme weather events, and it poses a serious concern for reliability.
A recent report from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, found that most provinces were found to be increasingly vulnerable during extreme weather, putting them at risk of shortfalls. Nova Scotia, one of the most vulnerable.
We've had Hurricane Dorian, Hurricane Fiona, which is the biggest storm we've ever had in Nova Scotia. We had Hurricane Lee, we've had wildfires, floods, pretty much everything, and all of those have weakened the power system.
Utilities like this in the province are taking some future-proofing steps by swapping out older poles with stronger ones.
The lightning hits, and all of a sudden there is a short circuit.
At the University of Toronto's Grid Modernization Centre, Ali Hushiar and his team are running real-time simulations using super-powered computers to find solutions. One solution is smart technology. That includes sensors and software to communicate information along the grid, to make supply decisions faster and to minimize disruptions when the grid's under pressure. Climate change isn't the only factor putting pressure on the grid. So is increased demand, with more people using everything from electric vehicles to heat pumps.
We're going to need more wind, more solar, more hydro, more nuclear to be able to meet the challenges of the future.
And the artificial intelligence boom is another potential challenge. Massive amounts of electricity needed to run thousands of servers.
10 years ago, if we were told that 10 years later, one of your biggest challenges is going to be AI data centers, people would think that this is just science fiction.
The major challenge is meeting Canada's energy needs before demand outpaces progress. But with more frequent extreme weather events and more strain on the grid, that task is becoming more urgent. Ruxar Ali, CTV News, Toronto.
The mysterious work at Lumen Industries is going in front of a whole new audience. The hit drama Severance leading the way by a long shot at this year's Emmy nominations. A look at the list next.
Hello, is anyone there? It's Marquez from Macro.
Fans had to wait quite a while for Severance to return to TV, but it was worth it. The drama received 27 Emmy nominations this morning. CTV's Andrea Case now on some of the other nominees for the 77th Annual Emmy Awards.
Ever since I came to the studio as a kid and went on the tour, being the head of Continental is the only job I've ever wanted.
It was good news for Vancouver's Seth Rogen. He created and stars in the Apple TV Plus comedy, The Studio.
The Studio. This is a new show, and I think it's going to shake up this category.
The comedy about the behind-the-scenes workings of a Hollywood movie studio will go up against Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, Shrinking, and What We Do in the Shadows. Rogen will face off against fellow nominees in the Outstanding Actor in a Comedy Series with fellow Canadian Martin Short, Adam Brody, Jason Segel, and Jeremy Allen White. White stars in The Bear. While the debate continues whether or not The Bear is a comedy, it was nominated for the most Emmy Awards this morning. The Bear co-star Ayo Edebiri will go up against Uzo Aduba, whose show The Residents was told last week it will not be renewed. When it came out this spring, everyone was talking about the British drama Adolescence. It was nominated for Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series.
I will say there's one on there called The Pit. This is with Noah Wiley from ER fame, and this is kind of this raw look at the healthcare system today in Pittsburgh. And I got to say, that's probably, if you want to talk about drama, that's probably one that's nipping at Severance's heels.
The 77th Annual Emmy Awards will take place on September 14th. Andrea Case, CTV News.
A larger-than-life figure with a legacy dating back more than a century is the subject of a new exhibit at the Elgin County Heritage Center. With more on the fascination with Jumbo the elephant, here's CTV's Brent Lale.
Jumbo's story, I think a lot of people know the ending. They know what happened and the tragedy that occurred here. But there's so much more that we wanted to be able to share.
140 years after his death, an exhibit takes you through the life of the African elephant, who went from Paris to England, where he became a beloved pet at the Zoological Gardens for 17 years.
His stardom really exploded and Jumbo Mania really took hold when P.T. Barnum came onto the scene and offered to buy Jumbo from the zoo. One of my favorite artifacts that we have is this letter from P.T. Barnum to Abraham Bartlett, who is the superintendent at the London Zoological Gardens, actually discussing the sale of Jumbo.
Jumbo became so famous, his likeness and name became a marketing tool.
His name started really showing up on different objects, different pieces of memorabilia, from shoelaces to matches to cigar boxes to pop bottles. This one was presented to Abraham Bartlett, the superintendent of the London Zoo, by P.T. Barnum, essentially thanking him for selling Jumbo.
Jumbo was with Barnum for 3 years until his death.
September 15th, 1885, Jumbo was, they were wrapping up a show in St. Thomas, and Jumbo was being walked back to his train car along with another elephant, Tom Thumb, when an unscheduled freight train unfortunately was coming down the tracks at the same time, and Jumbo was struck and killed. This is one of the advertisements that we have for Jumbo's last appearance, dated for St. Thomas, Tuesday, September 15th.
And maybe the most important and historical piece?
A slice of Jumbo's tusk. And this piece is really important for us because it is such a unique piece. Only 5 of these slices were ever prepared.
About 90% of the memorabilia either belongs to local historian Steve Peters or was once in his collection. Now it's available for the public to see.
This exhibition is really just a celebration of his life and his legacy.
Brent Leo, CTV News.
And more news ahead. First, let's check in with Alex.
We are still feeling the heat out there this hour. We'll let you know how warm it could be in Wake Up Weather coming up. Here's what's on CTV tonight at 7 o'clock. It's E-Talk before back-to-back Big Bang Theory episodes. Then at 9, The Amazing Race Canada before Battle of the Generations.
It's Jeff, KP, and Backstage Ben in the morning.
3 awesome people that want to start your day or finish your overnight shift.
You'll laugh, you'll text, you'll call, you'll scratch your head, and maybe even beat Backstage Ben. Weekday mornings from 5:30 to 10.
Listen live on the iHeartRadio app or at 105.3 Virgin Radio.
Okay, we're going to check in with Leanne Evans one more time with what our team is following for later tonight. Leanne.
Well, Tony, we'll be keeping an eye on that public meeting in Cambridge that just got underway in the last 30 minutes or so. A proposal up for discussion could see 3 buildings replaced with 1 tall tower at 28 stories, more than 4 times as tall than what's currently allowed. We'll hear what delegates had to say later tonight. Also in Brantford, we're learning the hospital's emergency department is experiencing significantly higher patient volumes and wait times tonight. More information on where and how to access care at 11:30. Tony.
Okay, Leanne, thank you so much. And Alex, as far as our wake up weather goes, we're getting through this week, and we've got some nice fresh air to look forward to later in the week too.
Yes, we do, especially as we get into the weekend. But yeah, still going to be a warm one as we look at tomorrow morning. Sunny sky to start the day, but already 20 degrees expected by 6 a.m. Then by 10 o'clock, we should see a little bit of cloud cover make its way across the region, but still mainly sunny conditions with a high. Well, that's definitely not going to be the high tomorrow, but we're going to be hitting 27, but it's going to feel more like in the 30s already by 10 a.m. So yeah, another day to get through with this heat, with this humidity, before we could see a little bit of a break. And again, Thursday night, overnight, 9 degrees we're expected to get down to.
Windows open kind of night.
Oh, yes.
That night, I think. Well, finally for us this evening, a big stick of salami is going a long way in Guelph.
The 4.5-foot salami was cut into more than 400 sandwiches. As CTV's Spencer Turcott tells us, it will help feed those in need in the Royal City.
Before these thinly sliced pieces of salami began making themselves onto sandwiches, it arrived at the Italian-Canadian Club of Guelph like this. Lou Bertoli is on the executive board of the club, which was gifted the big salami by Italia Salami in Guelph.
I was very excited.
The Italian club wanted to pay it forward.
And that led us into feeding
the shelters and all the people that are slightly underprivileged.
So with help from Zara Zaramasa, who helped supply all the goods for a sandwich, they contacted Stepping Stone, which assists people experiencing homelessness and food insecurity at several shelter locations throughout Wellington County.
The sandwiches from today will go to all of those sites, which is really amazing.
From our families with children who, need the nourishment to, some of our seniors at our 24/7 program. So it's going to go a long way for everybody.
With 2 assembly lines going, all the sandwiches were made in under an hour. So what was the final count?
420.
By the end of the day, hundreds of bellies will be filled with a traditional salami sandwich.
The Italians, you certainly won't find mayonnaise on it or hot mustard, maybe a little bit of salt and pepper. It's a really good feeling, and maybe they haven't eaten in a couple of days, literally. So that really makes the Italian Canadian Club feel good.
A good feeling knowing the big salami will have an even bigger payoff. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Guelph.
That is just so cool. What a way to go beyond the ordinary to help the community and dress things up a bit, too. Those sandwiches looked fantastic.
I know. What a treat. And more than 400 out of that.
In an hour.
I was like, are we sure? 400? Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is quite the operation.
That's quite the operation, and everyone's heart's in the right place as well. And what an act of generosity.
Yeah, it's always so nice to see those in the community giving back to, of course, those in need.
But now I'm hungry. And speaking of deli meat, I would take a smoked turkey sandwich if I were standing at a deli right now.
That sounds pretty good.
Big favorite of mine. On rye, pickle on the side.
Know your order.
Dinner time. We're going to sign off. Have a good night. See you at 11:30.
Take care.